4 feet? Nancy repeated. She, Bess, and the others looked down to see where George was pointing. Peeking out from beneath Antonio's long cape was not one, but 2 pairs of naked feet. Bastard! Peter Patino groaned as he stumbled out. Peter was Antonio's friend, but probably not for long. You and your big feet, Peter, Antonio muttered. So Peter was making Mr. Fangwalk, Kendra Jackson called out. Not Count Dracula. Antonio Ilafano, you cheated, Shelby complained. A woman dressed in white blouse and black pants walked over. I am Sherry Hemmings, the producer of Twinkling Little Star, she said. I just saw what happened. So, Antonio asked with a shrug. So having friends talk for you wouldn't be fair, Sherry said. Why don't you try throwing your voice by yourself, like ventriloquists do? But we are a team, Antonio argued. Partners. Partners in crime, George mumbled. Heard that, Georgia fained. Antonio snapped. Nancy could hear George suck in her breath. She hated her real name, Georgia, more than sweet movies about unicorns. What have you decided to do, Antonio? Sherry asked. Antonio gulped down the rest of his juice, wiped his mouth with his bad puppet, and said, Thanks, Miss Hemmings, but we'll take our amazing act elsewhere. As the boys pushed past them, Nancy heard Peter say, Let's go for pizza. Go without me, Antonio said glumly. I got a messy job to do. Nancy wondered what that messy job could be, but her thoughts were interrupted when Mr. Mayor Strong walked into the room. Everyone gasped who the mayor was with. I'm sure the judges need no introduction. Kids, Mayor Strong said, meet Lucy O'Teal and Cootie Sugarman. Oh my gosh, Nancy gasped, it's them. In a flash, the kids crowded around Lucy and Cootie. I am so thrilled to be back in River Heights, Lucy exclaimed. I want to do everything I did when I was a kid, except clean my room. Nancy giggled aloud with the others. Lucy was her favorite comedian too. And I can't wait to judge your auditions this weekend, Cootie said with a smile. Now I wish I could vote for each one of you right now. Isn't she sweet, kids? Mayor Strong said, then quickly added, and our third judge is Nathan Alonzo, the owner of this theater. Nathan opened his mouth to speak until Sherry stepped forward and spoke first. Auditions for third grade should be held here tomorrow morning, Sherry announced. Fourth graders will audition Saturday afternoon and fifth graders on Sunday morning. Before anyone could get selfies with Lucy and Cookie, the stars were whisked out of the room. After making sure their costumes and props were put away, the girls laughed too. Meeting Lucy and Cookie was awesome, said Nancy. Tomorrow will be even awesomer, George said. I am so happy we're in the third grade because that means we get to audition first. Bess stopped walking to look up at the cloud painting ceiling. Wait, she said, do you hear that? It's coming from upstairs. All Nancy heard were kids leaving the theater. Hear what, Bess? She asked. Someone just laughed, Bess said. Not this laugh, Bess said. Instead of ha ha ha, it's more like Mwahaha, like a monster laugh. Monster? George shook her head. Bess, do you think this theater is cursed by a witch? Bess flicked her long blonde hair and said, Maybe. You heard what Nathan told Bess, Nancy said gently. There are no monsters or witches in this theater. George flashed a smile. Except 3 super cool witches auditioning for the show tomorrow, she said. Us. Bess smiled too as the dolls chanted. Bubble, bubble, tall and trouble, will win the contest on the double. How were zombie slime monsters yesterday? Nancy asked George. It was Saturday morning and the day of the Twinkle Little Stars auditions. All 3 dolls are bottled in the back seat of Mr. Drew's car. They were excited to sit still. The movie was great, George said, but the snacks, not so great. Why? Bess asked. The slime green popcorn machine broke down, George said. I had to eat gummy bears instead. Nancy saw her dad smile in the rear-view mirror as he drove to the theater. Are you sure parents can watch the auditions? He asked. Totally sure, Daddy, Nancy said. Only kids are allowed. But you can wish us luck, Mr. Drew. Bess said with a smile. That always helps. Mr. Drew wished Nancy, Bess, and George the best of luck as she stopped in front of the Heights Theater. The dolls climbed out of the car, rushed into the theater, and hurried straight to the prop room. Look, George said, that door wasn't open yesterday. Nancy looked through the door. It led directly backstage. Cool. Don't forget to put everything you need for your auditions backstage, kids, Sherry told everyone. After pulling on their witch costume, the dolls carried and rode their own props backstage. They found 3 empty seats on the theater and sat down. This looks different than a movie theater, Nancy whispered as they looked around. Smells different too, George whispered back. No popcorn, no nacho chips. Lucy, Nathan, and Cootie were sitting behind a long table in front of the stage. Each wore a round white badge with the word Judge in red letters. Mayor Strong walked to the middle of the stage to a microphone. Nancy felt Bess squeeze her hand. This was it. Welcome, talented kids of River Heights, Mayor Strong announced. He pointed to the audience and said, I'm talking about you. As everyone cheered, Tutti turned to give a thumbs up. Nancy smiled. She really was sweet. Without further ado, let's bring out an act that even Miss Muffet would love. Mayor Strong said, Please welcome Cirque du Soleil. Nancy, Bess, and George clapped for Nadine and her friends. The spider dancers sprinted on stage holding a big ropey spider web over their heads. Music played as the Cirque du Soleil danced, but the faster they danced, the faster things began dropping down on them. Stridgy black things. Ew, one of the dancers shrieked. There are spiders all over this web. More dancers shrieked. Letting go of the web, the spidery net dropped over them in a big tangled mess. Let us out of here, Nadine cried. Mayor Strong and Nathan helped free the dancers from the web. The mayor picked up a spider and held it up for all to see. Don't worry, kids, Mayor Strong chuckled. These spiders are rubber. We didn't put them there, Nadine cried. Somebody did it to ruin our audition. Nancy watched Cirque du Soleil drag themselves and their web on the stage. Did somebody really put the spiders in their webs? And why? All right then, a frowning Mayor Strong said into the microphone. Our next act will make you howl and with laughter. Please give it up for Kevin Garcia. Kevin ran on stage, his werewolf mask covering his head. His voice sounded a bit muffled as he told his first joke. Where do werewolves go trick-or-treating? Kevin waited for a few seconds and said, Give up? They go trick-or-treating on Halloween. As some laughed, Kevin began to howl. Awoo, awoo. But then he threw back his head and began to sneeze. Achoo, achoo. Is that part of his act? George whispered. I don't think so. Nancy whispered back. Sniffing loudly into the mic, Kevin told his next joke. Why can't mummies have fun? Because they're too wrapped up in their work. Awoo. Once again, the awoos turned back into achoos, a lot of achoos. Kevin cried, pulling off his heavy mask. Something inside this thing is making me sneeze. Nancy, Bess, and George traded worried looks. First Nadine's act flopped, and now Kevin's. What was up? Nancy, Bess, and George, Sherry called to them from the aisle. Your audition is next, so get ready. As the girls made their way backstage, Bess said, What if something goes wrong with our audition too? What happened to Nadine and Kevin was a bummer, George insisted, but our audition is going to rock. All we have to do is pour strawberry bubble bath over our brew stuff, Nancy said, and we're all set. But as Nancy poured the liquid into the cauldron, Bess said, I don't smell strawberry. It's not pink either, it's green. Girls, you're on, Sherry called. The girls hurried on stage with their cauldron and mixing stick. What's brewing? Mayor Strong asked the audience. Meet the three witch sisters and see for yourself. The girls stood around the cauldron. After a group cackled, Bess stirred the brew while all three recited their lines. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron. Nancy glanced down and saw her jaw drop. The witchy brew was bubbling all right, all the way to the rim. Eek! Bess shrieked as something green, thick and soupy oozed over the rim. Nancy watched with horror as it crept out across the stage towards the judge's table. Lucy, Cookie, and Nathan jumped up, backing away from the stage. If I knew I'd be taking bubble bath, Lucy shouted, I would have packed my rubber ducky. The bubbling brew simmered down as Shelby and Kendra ran out from behind the stage. Somebody poured glue on my monster eyeballs, Shelby cried. She raised both hands to show eyeballs stuck to her palms. How can I juggle like this? And somebody cut the strings on my skeleton marionette, Kendra cried. How did this happen? A boy in the audience stood up. He was wrapped in white bandages like Mommy. Nancy knew it was Quincy. I knew why everything is going wrong, Quincy declared. It's the witch curse on the Heights Theater. Nathan turned and shook his head. I told you kids, he said, there are no curses and monsters in the Heights Theater. Absolutely, Nathan. There has to be a logical explanation for all of this. Mayor Strong agreed. When you find out, let me know, Sherry said firmly. Until then, the auditions in the River Heights are cancelled. Nancy stared at her two best friends. Cancelled? Oh no.